be very honest, I'm not too sure what my purpose is. We have too much access to each other. Like, we all have too much access to each other. And so it's that option of cutting people off we're not so sensitive to it anymore. Being in a space where it feels like you've lost things and you're literally just falling into God, and you're like, God, you're literally like, I have nothing else. Everything was just like when my cousin passed away. Yeah, because we were raised, because there's 3 of us who were born in January. But with her particularly, we were like, I would say raised like twins.
If not dealt with, it always comes back and shows itself differently.
But I do know I have a bit of like separation anxiety. A little bit, because I'm like, no, but I want to be with you all the time. Social media is a space that is overwhelming to me. I hate posting. I don't enjoy posting.
So there you are. You healed me.
Yeah, and people are like, yeah, but you're a child.
Hey guys, welcome back to Inside Story with me, Koketso Naledi. Today, I have Lerato Mokoka. She's an actor, a writer, and a filmmaker. I love filmmakers because I'm also one. So I'm excited to have this conversation with her. I hope you enjoy this conversation. Please do subscribe, like, comment, and share. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to chat with you and pick your brain, and just chill with you. Yeah. How are you doing today? How are you really doing today?
I am good. I'm well. I'm a bit tired, but I think I'm happy. Like, feeling lighter, I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling good. Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. I think this season of my life, I know that things are flowing. I'm where I'm supposed to be in God's plan. Purpose for my life.
Yeah.
Talking about purpose, what's your purpose?
I know, I'm diving right in it.
You asked me.
For the jugular. You're like, no, I'm feeling in this season of my life. How are you in this season of my life? I said, whoa, okay. She said all the way.
Yeah.
To be very honest, I'm not too sure what my purpose is. Like, fully fledged, like having a fully fledged answer of what my purpose is. And I understand now that in life's journey, that's what it is, like figuring out what your purpose is. But I do have clarity on some things. I know for sure that I have a gift of building relationships.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I have a gift of connecting people. So I think that's what I'm focusing on now. Not what I'm focusing on, but really leaning into that and being like, oh, okay, let me connect people more, let me connect with people more. And then that sort of guides me into what I need to do and where I need to go. So to say my overall purpose is this, I don't know entirely. And it's funny because the other day I was actually praying to God and I was so frustrated, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing anymore. And I don't know what my purpose is. What is my purpose? And he reminded me of something that I wrote down when I was 16. He's like, go back to that journal. And I went back to the journal. And I was like, oh, it's making sense. That's when I got the clarity about like relationships and stuff. Not that it's necessarily my purpose, but that it's something that I should lean into because that's something that he is using in my life.
And that's where you're gonna find your purpose.
And that's where I'll find it as time goes by. I don't know if I'll ever have a fully fledged answer. I don't wanna lie to you. I don't know if I'll ever get to a point where I'm like, my purpose is to empower women into this and this and that. I don't know. I think I've let go of that, and I feel like that's more freeing than trying to find an answer. It's more easy flowing for me to just be like, it will reveal itself to me in time. And it changes in different seasons, and that's okay.
I love that. I love that about you. Tell me, what is the one thing that you love about yourself?
I like my childlike nature. I really like the fact that I don't take things I take things serious enough, but I don't burden myself with like life. Like, I'm very carefree, I prioritize that, and I've seen that also sets other people free. Like people seeing like, oh, like she's just like tra la la, life is nice.
And that's another purpose. That's true.
That's,
Can you see
yes,
that?
and it's true, and that's speaking to relationships, you know, and I've seen that people enjoy that. And you think, and I battled with it for a while, I won't lie, because even now it still feels a little irresponsible, like you're not taking things serious enough.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this is freedom that people are actually seeking. Like people want to be in a space where they can, yes, we work every day, we work hard, we do all of these things to afford ourselves the things that we enjoy and the things that take us to that place where we can be carefree, we can take care of our inner child. So I like that about myself. I like the fact that that has also helped me romanticize my life more. To be like, wow, life is beautiful and life can be beautiful. And I can look at a butterfly and be like, wow, that's so pretty, oh my gosh, and just have a good time. And it's important to balance things out because life is so hard already. So for life to be hard and to take it so seriously and be overly critical of yourself and not giving yourself room and space to just exist at the core of who you are, I'm like, no, that's a hard life to live. I would rather be authentic in my nature of just like really enjoying life and giving myself pockets of like, wow.
And really enjoying life and really enjoying yourself.
Exactly.
In your, I don't want to say childishness, your childlike nature, because it heals people. Because, and that's a purpose too, you know? Yes, people are free, but for me to be free around you because of this, the nature that you have, you're also healing me. Because I could be going through a lot and you don't know. So there you are, you healed me.
Yeah. And people are like, yeah, but you're a clown. And it's like it's just exactly like you're saying, like you're having a bad day. And then it's not even about cracking a joke. It's not even about trying to be funny, but it's just like in your nature of just like existing. People are like, oh, okay, I feel better. Maybe it's not so bad. Maybe that is funny. Oh my God, that's, you know, and then by virtue of that, like things become lighter.
And you also change somebody else's perspective.
Yes.
See how important you are in my life already. I need you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
What does holistic wellness mean to you?
Holistic wellness to me is mind, body, soul, spirit. Mind, body, soul, spirit. It's taking care of your body, which I need to get better at. I don't think I'm getting that right now. But it's fine. Taking care of your soul, doing things that nurture your soul, doing things that nurture your inner child. Like I know for me, I like simple things like putting flowers in a vase, like being intentional about that, painting on a random day, doing stuff that's good for your soul, doing stuff that's good for your spirit, you're praying, you know, you're in the word, you're spending time with God, you're monitoring your spirit, you're in tune with it. Mind as well, you know, mental health, taking care of your mental health, which I don't think I've gotten that right. I'm still working on that, but that too. So I think just looking at every aspect of who you are and being intentional about taking care of that. I think also holistic wellness, because I'm in this season of like relationships. I think healthy relationships are also so important. And I've come to realize that people don't like, I don't think healthy relationships are as prevalent as we think. Like there are more unhealthy relationships than there are healthy relationships, and that's so important. But you need to be intentional about the relationships that you build with people, because the people around you inform who you are. You know, they form a big part of your holistic wellness. So that's how I see it.
Do you think that now we live in a world where, yes, we have to have boundaries. Boundaries are important. But do you think that because now you're talking about relationships, relating to people and actually being with people, because we need each other, right? Do you think that we're in a time where we cut people off very quickly without giving them enough chances?
I think yes. I think yes and no. Yes, because we're very fearful. We're very fearful. And obviously the immediate reaction is to push somebody away and protect yourself, and that's why it's easy for people to cut people off. But no as well, because part of the problem is that we have too much access to each other. Like we all have too much access to each other, and so it's that option of cutting people off is we're not so sensitive to it anymore. Like it's just a normal day to just block you.
Yeah.
To just be like, you're done.
Yeah.
It's just a normal day, and part of culture now, you know. So I think, yeah, yes and no. I think yes, people are afraid and they cut people off and they don't want to give people a chance. But it's also because we're overexposed. Like we're so in each other's lives, we're bound to rub each other off the wrong way, and that's why we're quick to be like, no, bye.
Yeah.
Let me cut you off. But like you're saying, boundaries are important. Like if you have healthy boundaries, then there isn't a need to just cut people off. But also it's important to cut people off because that's a part of having your boundaries.
Yeah. I get
So yes and no. I think yes and no.
So daily, how do you take care of your mental health?
Mm.
What is the one thing that you're intentional about?
This is gonna sound random, but I think
Okay, we love random.
it's very basic stuff. I think it's
Yeah.
very basic stuff to take care of my mental. I've moved into the practical stuff, like because I'm like just thinking is not always gonna work. It doesn't always. You can't think yourself into a better mental space sometimes. So the first thing I do in the morning is I like to wake up early. Like that's like my thing now. That's like helps me start my day properly. So I usually sleep with my curtains open because I like the moonlight before I go to sleep, which is romantic.
Yeah.
And then also
I love that.
and also because I like I'll set my alarm, but I like the sun hitting my face first thing in the morning, because obviously like the sun is very good for your mental. So the sun wakes me up in the morning, and then my alarm goes off, and then I go into a devotional in bed. Like I'm like, yo, don't rush the day, don't rush the morning, and then I go into devotional. Sometimes I don't, and I'm okay with that. Like sometimes.
Sorry to interrupt you, do you do your own devotional, or you have a daily devotional book that you read?
I use the Bible app.
Okay, cool.
So I just open the Bible app, like, okay, verse of the day, and then like there's a 7-day devotional situation that I'll go into. So sometimes I don't get into it, but I always make it a point to open the app. I'm like, open the app. Open the app.
Something will happen.
Something will happen.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll circle back to it. Sometimes I don't do it, but I make sure that I always open my Bible app without fail. And then after that, I make a cup of coffee for me and my friend. We live together, so I always make sure every morning I make her a cup, and then I make me a cup as well. And then I usually give her a coffee in bed, or if she has a meeting, then I'll give her a coffee. And that's when
You're such a good friend.
Yeah, but it's also something like that gets you into a routine. Like it helps you to get into a routine. I'm like, no, I have to do this thing just to get into the flow of the day. So it's just something that I picked up where I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna make her a cup of coffee, whatever. And then I will go into emails. I'll open my laptop, see what the day's looking like, go into emails, and then shower, and then get into the rest of my day. But every day is different. Like our lives are actually insane. Like no day looks the same. Like some days are very chilled. We're like, okay, let's go play paddle, and then we'll go into that. But usually that's how I'll just start. Like the first chunk of my day, I always make sure I tick those boxes without the pressure of ticking those boxes. That's why I try to ease into it. Yeah, but I've seen that that's what helps with like the flow. Sometimes we sunbathe, we get a point where like we haven't seen the sun in a while. Let's go sit in the sun. Let's go there. We need a cup of water. We need a glass of water with lemon and ice to make sure that we're hydrated. Okay. So it's just small things like that that I've seen. Oh, okay, they do actually help. Listen to a gospel song. Always make sure I listen to a song. Gets me into the day. Reminds me of, who God is in my life. Because I need that. You need that reminder. Yeah.
And who is He in your life?
God, to me, is everything. Literally. Is literally everything. And I know it's a cliche answer, but I mean it. Like now, I actually get it. Because there was a time in my life I would look at other Christians, like the people you look at me like, yeah, no, you're Christian. Like, no, you love the Lord. Like you're down for the Lord for real, and you just see like the intimacy that they have with God, and you're like, yo, I want that. Like, I wish I had that. And I think with, like I was explaining, that being in a space where it feels like you've lost things and you're literally just falling into God, and you're like, God, you're literally like, I have nothing else. Like, I literally have nothing else, and this is me. And he literally becomes your everything. Not becomes, he always has been, but that realization of like, whoa, really God is everything. So it's painful because you feel like you've lost something, but it's also so beautiful because you're like, wow, you really are my friend. You really are my father. You really are my provider. So he's literally my everything. You know, try to talk to him all the time, which is different. Like, my prayers have changed.
I love
You
that.
know,
Talking about maturity.
You know,
And
it doesn't
growing.
feel like maturity. It doesn't. It's weird because it doesn't feel like maturity because it looks so
How does it
different,
feel like?
right?
Yeah.
It feels like, it feels intimate. I
Yeah.
think that's the word for it. It feels intimate, like where I would have like prayer, you know, you're like, okay, God, you know, praying in times, that prayer warrior, you know, you have your prayers like that. But I think for a while, I've been like, I just want to be able to walk with God and talk with God throughout my day. And I think I'm there now.
Yeah.
And even in the uncomfortable situations, I think I'm still, you know, learning that, where it's just like, God, I don't feel great. Oh, this is not a good situation that I'm in, but I'm here. And being like, he's in the room. And not forgetting that he's still with you and he's still in the room. Even in this weird situation that you are in, he's in the room. You know? So even with my friend, like navigating that with my friend. And she's like, yeah, no, but I like prayed. I spoke to God as well in that moment. And I'm like, yo, I actually can still be like, I know this is weird, but I know you're in the room.
Yeah.
So I'm still going to have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
And you still have a conversation with me.
Yeah.
And you're always with me. Type of thing. So it feels much more intimate. He really feels like my father now. For real. For real. Like, even I want to refer to my friend a lot because we have a lot of conversations, obviously, because we're always together.
Yeah.
Even this morning, we're just like, but God is so romantic.
Yeah.
Like God is insanely romantic.
He is.
So knowing him and experiencing him in that way and being like, you did that for me. Even the little things, like, you did that for me. Yesterday's word was like right at me, and I'm like, that is such, you love me in such a way that, like, you know me.
You know me in such a way that nobody could ever. Exactly.
Yes.
So it doesn't make sense for me to move away from you.
No.
And create that distance. And I love it when it becomes intimate, because nobody can take that away from you.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So tell me, let's go to your childhood. Let's see. What's your earliest childhood memory? Whether bad or good?
I don't, you know, I can't recall. I actually don't have like an earliest childhood memory.
Yeah.
For some weird reason, there's one memory from when I was a kid that just stays with me. Like, if you're like childhood, I'm like, that memory.
Yeah.
I remember driving to my grandmother's house with my mom. And the sun was setting. And you know when the sky turns pink?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that memory. Because as a kid, I don't know, for some weird reason, because there were other people in the house all the time, I felt like I didn't spend enough time with my mom. When it was just me and my mom, I was happy. I was like, yes, it's just me and my mom. So it was one of those moments where we were driving to my grandmother's house and it's just me and her, and I'm like, it's just me and my girl. And the sun was setting, the sky was pink. That's one thing I remember clearly. Nothing before that.
Yeah.
After that,
and in your adult years now, what is that? The sun setting?
Yeah.
Turning pink. What does it mean to you?
It means, I think just moments like that, I just see God's beauty more than anything. I'm just like, wow.
So technically, that was the first time you encountered God and you were with your mom.
Actually, like God's beauty, like, wow, this is beautiful, this is a beautiful moment, I'm sitting with my girl, okay, this is nice. Actually, yeah.
And what sort of feelings did that bring?
In that moment as a child? I think a lot of peace, a lot of warmth, a lot of, I always feel warm around my mom.
Yeah.
Like, she's just such a warm person, to me at least. And that, like, very deep piece of like everything's gonna be okay type of thing. Like, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, sometimes God speaks. He's not one-dimensional.
No, absolutely not.
He speaks through such moments. Because, like you say, you were calm, warm, and he said it's the first time you saw God's beauty.
Like consciously acknowledging it, like, oh, this is nice, this is beautiful. Yeah.
So, is there a story or an event that happened to you when you were younger that changed the way you see life? That sort of took away your innocence. You know, when you're going through life and you're a child and you're just sort of seeing this beautiful thing that you're going through, and you're not feeling, of course you would experience negativity or feelings of sadness. Of course you're a person, but there's always that one thing that changes and you start feeling maybe guilt the way you should, or the way it's supposed to be, or fear, or whatever the thing is. That moment where you realized, shucks, or maybe something that bubbled your insecurities, even, you know, when you started feeling insecure, when you go back as an adult to see that young child.
That's a very good question.
Yeah,
that's a very good question. I can't think of. Oh, I just remembered when my cousin passed away. Yeah, because we were raised, because there's 3 of us who were born in January. But with her particularly, we were like, I wouldn't say raised like twins, but you know when they like put us in matching outfits, you know, like we're together a lot. Like we were very like close. We were very, very close. And she passed away very young. I think we were like very young, maybe like 5 or something, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So it was just, I think the concept of death like that. Where I was like, she's gone. What's weird is I understood what it meant for her to die. But I think, sorry, to pass away, that was to pass away.
Not a problem.
I think I understood when they told me like she's passed away, and I understood that, but it was really like wrapping your head around that as a child, that somebody who was so close to you, like the yin to yang, we were always together, and like even the hope of like we're gonna grow up together is gone, you know, and really being like, I actually did lose somebody and seeing how life moves on after that was crazy. So even when they told me, I remember it's so clearly actually, because I was asleep and my mom woke me up, and no, she actually didn't wake me up. She just told me in my sleep. I don't know if that's like a thing in Botswana, but like
they do that.
They do that, and but I heard her, and I don't know if I said okay, but I understood in that moment what it meant. Like when she told me that she passed away, right? But it's in the process of it as well, like after the fact, you know, after the funeral, seeing how life goes on and how really life goes on, and the forgetting her and then remembering her and then forgetting her and then remembering her was insane to me, that she's really like gone. Like we all get together as cousins and she's not there. I see my aunt and seeing how that impacted her, seeing my aunt without her. So I think that's a moment that did put life in perspective, you know, for me at such a young age. I was just like, so I can imagine for people who lost their parents at that age, you know, how difficult
or to process everything.
Yeah, like how that shifts your perspective. Yeah.
And what sort of course you don't remember everything, but as an maybe older version of you, or it doesn't matter how old you'd be. What sort of feelings would you get when you remember her?
I think because I haven't thought about her in years. I think the initial feeling, because now I think I'm going through like a realization when it comes to like death and mourning and loss, where I feel like I didn't deep it. Like I felt like it's one of those things where it's just like, yes, it hurts, but allowing it to actually like hurt type of thing.
Yeah.
So I think the initial feeling is that it is okay for it to impact you. Like you did lose something. It's okay, you know, for it to really like impact you. I think that's my initial thought now because of the relationship that I'm having with loss now. Like losing a long-term relationship and you're like, okay, it's fine, like life goes on and you move on with life, and it's like, no, but you lost a part of you, you know? It's okay for you to be like, yo, no, that did impact me. I did lose something very valuable in my life. So when I think about her now, I'm like, I didn't realize that that's something that actually impacted me like that. And now looking back and looking at the relationship that I have now with loss, I'm like, oh, already as a child, you don't know how to process that. Yeah. So that's the initial feeling.
Yeah.
And then the secondary feeling is that you need to lean into it. It's okay.
It's okay.
The only way you're going to get through this thing, and it's not about even getting to the other side also is what I'm learning. It's not about mourning and then getting to the other side and then life goes on.
It's part of you.
It's a part of you. Like you've lost something and that's okay. And that forms a part of your life to be like, yo, yeah. I've lost this person, I've lost this thing. You know, grief comes and goes. And that's a part of life and that's okay. Like you don't always just get to the other side and you never grieve again, you never mourn again. And you're gonna mourn again and it's gonna be okay.
And also in life, that's how life is set up. Nothing is standard. There's seasons and periods, and we're not supposed to dissociate from that. You know, and that's what makes you a great actor, because then you have to be layered, right? Then you understand.
Then you can draw from that.
You can draw from. How did it make you feel to just exist as a person after that? Because I can imagine you brought up as twins. The sort of displacement, the confusion. How did you handle all of that?
I don't know, because you know, as a child, you're not aware of what is going on really, and the consequences of these things emotionally, because you're just a child. Like you're only learning now what guilt is, what shame is, what embarrassment is, what excitement is, what joy is. So, you know, so I don't think I can't recall really handling it. I just don't remember crying. Like I don't remember. That's what I'm saying. Like as a child, you're not aware of what is going on and how you feel about certain things. So, yeah.
As an adult, though, thinking about it, what do you think is the most prevalent feeling? If you put words into it as an adult now.
I think the prevalent feeling is run away, don't go into it, don't go into these feelings of being sad, but at the same time you understand that you have to go into these feelings of being a little sad. So are you asking like me looking back or like or the way I handle it now?
No, if you're looking back and you revisiting, because it's not revisiting, it's a memory, right? Especially because you haven't dealt with it.
Okay.
Right? How does it make you feel? Or even randomly when you're thinking, I know you don't think about it a lot because it's not something you're young. You didn't process. But you know what happens to our subconscious when we are a little bit older? It will come and visit you and just like you said, run away. And that's what you hear, right? But I'm asking, run away. What do you think is in the runaway? Like I want those emotions. How does it make you feel in the runaway? You don't want to deal with it. Why?
Okay, I think I actually want to change my answer. I think I want to change my answer. I don't think I'm running. Yes, the initial reaction is like run away because it's a new thing, it's a new discovery. But I think the feeling is relief. Like I'm recognizing, oh, there's something that has gone unchecked and I get to check it now. Where it's just like, okay, how do you deal with loss really and losing someone, you know? And we're like, oh, this is something I haven't dealt with consciously. So I think the initial feeling is relief. The secondary feeling is loss again. You know, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I did lose somebody. Like, okay, what are my memories of her? Okay, because remember there was a time a while back I was like, yo, I wonder where we'd be now. Like, I wonder where she'd be in her life. You know, when I look at her siblings and her cousins and I'm looking at their lives and I'm like, yeah, I wonder where she would be and where we would be together. So I mean, there's a little bit of joy there as well to think about that and be like, oh, I had somebody like that in my life at some point. Although I don't remember much about her because we were kids, but I had somebody like that by the hip who was so close to me. Yeah.
I'm so happy saying that now it's something to look at, because one thing about trauma or loss or whatever it is, if not dealt with, it always comes back and shows itself differently in our relationships, right? Because you find that, okay, cool, I never dealt with this, but it's showing itself in my friendships in terms of how I deal with loss, because loss is not only losing someone, right? You could lose a boyfriend, a partner, but how do you deal with it afterwards?
Yeah.
Do you sort of dissociate a little bit, not really fully allowing, because you never really dealt with it as a child as well. So you sort of develop a coping mechanism in terms of how you deal with losses in your life.
Yeah.
Have you found that in your relationships? You do a bit of that as well? You try to protect yourself as an adult from certain relationships?
No, I don't think. I think in as much as, especially now, I think I'm learning how to deal with loss. Really, really, truly allow myself to like really go through it. But I don't think I ever move afraid of losing someone. Like I don't move. Obviously, there's that thing at the back of your mind because you love someone, but I don't necessarily go like, oh, I might lose you, so I'm gonna push away. I'm gonna love you less. I'm not gonna engage too much because I don't want to.
I love that.
It makes me love you deeper because I'm like, of course I want to love you all the way. Of course I want to love you all the way because I might not get to, you know. And I mean, apart from that, I think, even when I was talking to my friend about love and giving people and giving love to people, right? Because there's always a risk. So, but we can't be like, I'm not going to take the risk because you might leave me, you might pass away, you might, but being like, but I'm a lover and this is how I love people and this is how I want to love people. So even if you walk away, even if you pass away, I can sit and say, yo, but I loved you well. Like I actually got to love you and I loved you well. So I don't necessarily have those barriers, especially because I found my people, you know, so my cup is full in that regard. But I do know I have a bit of like separation anxiety. A little bit, like, because I'm like, no, but I want to be with you all the time. I love you so much, enjoy your company. The moment we have to separate, like, you have to ease me into it. So I think my people, I hate to admit, like, now I'm like, it's separation anxiety. I think my people have somewhat, I don't think they clocked it, I don't know, but they just found a way to just handle that and just slowly, like, to shy away, be like, okay, I'm gonna go now, or like, okay, babe, so you know it's time for me to go, and because you just up and leave, it's so painful, or like I'll call you, or like you just out the door, but I know I have that little thing where I'll just follow you around. It's not annoying, it's not overwhelming, but I know in my heart I'm just like, no, but you're gonna be gone soon, and you know, okay, I'm just preparing my heart for that separation. So that's the only thing that I can say would speak to something. I still need to sit down and be like, where does this come from? Because you come from a secure home, you know, oh, no one's like ghosted you, like nothing weird or traumatic has happened. But I do have that thing where I'm like,
don't leave me.
or like ease me into that, ease me into like, you know, we're not going to be together for a bit.
Because you don't get that as a child, especially experiencing something like that. As that you don't get that where you're like, it's death, I mean it's death. Nobody prepares you for it. When you're just like, oh, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. This is the time you spend time with. Especially those are your formative years. That's when you make sense of reality. Around 4 or 5. That this is how life is. So it really does affect your reality or the lens that you view reality.
That's true. That's true.
So what does surrender mean to you?
Oof, surrender. To me is the thing that I imagine in my mind when I think of surrender every single time. I just picture somebody, myself, like lying, like prostrate. Is that the word? Like just
Prostrate.
lying flat, like lying
Yeah.
flat on the floor and just
Mhm.
being like, you know. But I think if I were to describe it, I think it's willingly falling and willingly giving up, like saying, here it is, I'm letting it go, but I'm letting it go into, I think when I think of surrender, I just think of surrendering to God. I let it go into your hands. I release it into your hands. I'm lying flat here to say, do what you want to do. I'm not even going to stand, I'm not even going to sit. It's just you. Do what you need to do.
Okay. And what does emptying your vessel mean to you?
Emptying my
Your vessel, yourself as a vessel. How do you empty yourself? What does it mean when somebody says you have to empty yourself as a person?
Is it weird that I'm like, I don't see it as emptying myself as a vessel, because I always see myself as like a vessel where something flows through me type of thing.
Okay.
Not like,
no, it's not weird.
It's
That's
gonna
actually
be
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, not like, okay, I'm running out. I don't
Mm.
see it as like I'm running out. I see it as there's something flowing through me constantly. So it's like, it's just making the flow easier, the flow of love easier, the flow of sadness easier, the flow of whatever needs to flow through me.
That's beautiful, because that's exactly what it is. Because energy can never be created.
Can't be created,
or
can't be
destroyed. Of
Yeah.
course. So it's always flowing. So I love that. Tell me, what is the one thing that you do that you don't like? The one thing that you do that you don't like about yourself, or something you keep complaining about but not changing? You can make them two separate questions if the answer is too overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. If you know, like we were talking about being critical.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a bunch of things
Yeah.
that you like don't like about yourself.
Yeah.
I don't like that I sometimes get like when I feel overwhelmed about something. Which is weird because I always know myself as a high performer. I just don't do it. Like if something feels a bit overwhelming, like for example, simple example would be social media. Social media is a space that is overwhelming to me. I hate posting. I don't enjoy posting. It's just hard for me to just put myself out there to be perceived. You know, so the thought of, okay, I need to do this thing, and then I just don't. I'm like, nope, that's too overwhelming. Or I'll just like procrastinate. So I don't like that. So instead of just ripping the band-aid, so now I'm trying to get myself into like, just rip the band-aid, just get it over and done with. Just do it. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And I get it in my mind. But sometimes when things are too overwhelming,
you just don't do them.
And then I just
it's actually human nature to feel that way.
Yeah.
And why do you think you feel that way?
Because I think in my mind I've made the calculation of like if there's something that I feel like it's just too overbearing or too overwhelming to do. In my mind I've made the calculations of what it takes to do that thing. And I'm like, oh, that's too much. That's too, not too hard. I'll be able to do it. But it's just too much. And the feelings involved as well feel too much. And sometimes it's wrong calculations. They're incorrect calculations because sometimes when somebody's like, no, you can do it. No, just do it. No, just start here.
I feel like because you are a high performer, the fear of being judged or not doing it right or properly according to you, because you're a high performer, right? Your brain saying, you don't want to do it properly. You know, you just always want to execute perfection because you're a high performer.
That is exactly it, actually.
Yeah.
That is like fear of failure. Oh my God. I'd rather not. Like I don't want it to be subpar. So you're like, you're already calculating the thing. You're like, I can't do this thing, but I don't want it to be done incorrectly. I don't want it to look like a bad attempt. So you just don't. You actually hit it on the nail. That's exactly what it is.
And what do you do then to sort of conquer that? Because you're a child of purpose.
Yeah.
You're a child of purpose, because I do believe in my heart that, you know, when you speak and you mention God for me, it tells me that you understand, even if you don't understand it, but to a certain level, you're walking in God's purpose for your life, or at least you want to. So there's a certain truth that you want in your life.
Yeah.
Right? So do you ever feel like your walk with God is enough where it is? like where you are with God is fine. Where you are is where God is. And that you don't have to fight with yourself so much. Like if you need to do that particular thing, right? Whether it's perfect or not, that's what God wants for your life in that moment. That's the level that you are in, right? Because He is there with you. Unless it feels off. When it feels off, it means that God is not there.
Yeah.
Then, you know what I mean? Then it's okay
exactly
not to do
mean.
that particular thing.
Yeah.
But what if in that season, it's exactly what God wants you to do? That's why He's planting that idea in your heart. That do it now. And also, having said that, have you seen that ideas belong to God? If you procrastinate, I don't like that word, but if you take too long to do it because you're scared of everything else, not that you shouldn't be scared. I mean, you had a conversation earlier on and you realized Jesus was scared Himself before He was about to be crucified, right? It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be anxious. You know, Jeremiah felt anxious, you know. Everybody gets scared in the Bible, but we don't read it that way. But that's a topic for another day, you know. So have you ever felt that to serve yourself and your purpose in a particular moment, you still do need that particular truth? Doesn't matter how uncomfortable, for you to get to your life's purpose.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with you. I think to answer that initial question of what do you do, I just do it. Like now I'm really, that's what I'm saying, I'm trying to just get myself to a point of just rip off the band-aids. And I think apart from like just do it, is do it scared. I think that's one thing I've made up in my mind. I'm like, even in the last couple of months, I've had to be like, you're scared, it's scary, but you're gonna do it. But you're gonna do it. I was even telling my friend, like, with the things that I do, I need this thing to happen. Like, I actually need this to be done. So I can at least have some proof that I can do this thing. Like, I can have something I can point at and be like, yes, you're scared now. I know I'm going to be scared again. But I'm going to be scared again. And when you're scared, you can at least be like, okay, but I did that though. Okay, but I did manage to do that. Okay, I did. Okay, sharp. Don't scare. And you were scared then. And you'll be able to do this thing even while you're scared. So you're right. And I love what you said about God's, like, the way you are with God and God's will for your life being enough. We're participators in God's will. But I think I'm only learning now to sort of relieve the pressure of like, it's not just you, you know, like of course you have this crippling perfectionism thing that creeps up because you want to do this thing so well, but it's not all on you. God is in you, God is with you. There is favor, there is power that you receive from God to do these things. And also I think even in my relationship with God, where I don't want to say losing everything because it sounds so like, you know, but in where I am, I think God is teaching me firstly that you're my child first. Okay? Like first and foremost, you're my child. Even without lifting a finger, even without doing anything, without doing any work, without charging for your purpose and doing all of these things, you're my child first. And you are me to be beholden to me. It's you and me first and foremost. Then all of these other things we can figure it out. So knowing that, okay, first of all, I'm God's child. Even if I don't do any of the stuff. Give yourself grace. Does, like it helps to give yourself grace. It alleviates a lot of pressure. And it also just like, man, it empowers you as well. It empowers you as well because you're like, okay, even if this fails, I'm not disqualified from God's love. I'm not less than. Like, I'm not a loser. I'm not like all of these titles that you give to yourself if you fail. You know, I'm not those things. You know.
And just to ask you, what did you mean when you said losing everything? What do you mean exactly? You don't have to go exactly into the story, but like, what do you mean? Just sort of give us an idea.
I think losing everything that I thought would give me security. Maybe let me not say everything, but things that I realized that this was a source of this is a source of security. You know, like an example would be like having to move. You know, and being like, I I know I cultivate my spaces and I cultivate them well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have to move.
Yeah.
I'm like losing that space, losing that personal space. I'm in an amazing space now, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm very grateful and I'm seeing what God is doing
Yeah.
in making that shift in my life. That, and I was like, I didn't know that was like a sense of, okay.
You can find happiness in that.
Yeah.
Be content in that.
Yeah, you know, that sense of security. You know, the industry that we're in, it's like up and down, it's a little tricky. Yeah. So that sense of security of like, you thinking money will give you security. So you constantly, never mind the ups and downs, but the constant chase of like, I need more money, I'm gonna make money, da 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 da. Even if you're fine, you're like, no, more. Because you're thinking that, okay, at this point I'm gonna feel more secure. And then you get there, no, at that point I'm gonna feel more secure. So that like thing and being like, oh, this is something that is a sense of security for me, that I feel like if I don't have this, then who am I? There's that, there's, you know, my relationship and being like, I had so much safety and security in my relationship. This is somebody who was like, my self-esteem was very protected in that space, and not having that safe space anymore to run to has also been like, whoa, you know. So I think things that were security to me, or felt like a safety net, where now it's shifting, and I think that's what God was showing me, where He's just like,
and it's both of them almost during the same time.
It's all at the same time.
All at the same time.
It's all at the same time. Literally,
so how did
same
you
month.
Same month.
Same month. Everything was just like And I was
so
like,
how did you
okay.
take yourself from out of that space? Because it's two things that mean a lot, and I don't want us to downplay that. Security is important.
It's very important.
It's very, so don't downplay it and make yourself feel, I don't know, don't downplay it and give yourself permission to be like, this is a big thing, you know, and there's nothing wrong in it, because we're human beings. If we are going to be happy or achieve anything, one day is to just let it all down, be like, oh, it's fine, it happens, it's part of life, you know, even relationships, you know. So how did you sort of deal with everything to be where you are now?
I think I'm still dealing with it. Definitely in a better space.
Yeah.
Definitely in a better space. But I think the first step of dealing with it, which took a minute for me to get to, was exactly what you're saying. That no, this did mean something to you, and it's okay for you to feel a sense of loss. Feel it.
Feel it.
Grieve. Mourn. And I did. And it was rough. Like, it was so rough to really be like, wow, I'm down. Like, I'm actually hurt. I'm actually broken over this thing. I will say that God's grace, first of all, because the way that He also just moved things around, like in my losing my place, I stayed with a friend. And just that, having somebody with you, that companionship, that sense of companionship every single day, where even in moments where you feel like you can't get up and you can't take care of yourself, there's someone there holding your hand. In simply their existence. In simply their existence. There's someone being like, babe, you know you haven't spoken about this. And you're like, oh shoot, I haven't. I just moved on. She's like, no, but you haven't. Do you want to talk about it? I think let's talk about it and work through this thing. I noticed this and this and that. Ooh, this pattern of behavior. Hey, what's going on? That helped a lot. And I think another thing that did help was, and that's how I even got to the point of just like speaking to God, is just, I was more honest with God. I've been more honest with God. I'm like, God, I can't pray. Like, I can't even speak. All I'm asking for is for you to be with me. That's all.
And I love that prayer.
That's all. That's all. I'm
just not telling Him how to move.
No.
Because He is God.
And
if He wants you to be in that season longer, you would be. You know what I mean? And I think that's one thing that we need to understand. It doesn't matter how much you rush Him. Only His will prevail. Because the Bible says, many are the plans in a man's heart, but it's only the God's will. They're God's will. It's only God's will.
that will prevail. Yeah.
English. Right?
It's fighting us now.
It's fighting us
at
now.
the time of the day. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Thank you so much for your wonderful story. And I think that we have only, hit something on your complex story. I really think there's so much more to it.
There definitely is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Please do like, comment, and share. Don't forget to subscribe or turn on that notification bell button so that you are notified when we release a video. And thank you so much for the love, guys, that you're showing us with every interview